Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There you go, right down there. If you want to be among the first to hear my weekly takes, NFL, college football, more, right there. So as we go into the season, I thought about this. If the Chiefs three-peat, Belichick didn't do it. And we talk a lot about the Chiefs. We talk about Mahomes and Brady, right? Brady's going to be more productive, but Mahomes is more talented and increasing in production. But I want to talk about Andy Reid and Belichick. Andy Reid wins a third straight Super Bowl. Belichick never did it. Andy Reid, 2 teams to a Super Bowl. Belichick didn't do it. Andy Reid had to face, for the first 15 to 20 years of his coaching career, a league that allowed Belichick's favorite rules to exist. Yet Andy still flourished. 5 NFC championships. The minute the league pivoted to offense and Brady left, Belichick it's Jurassic. He is completely tone deaf. And my take is, we've always felt there's Belichick and Shula. Andy wins a third straight. Andy's Super Bowl, Philadelphia, Kansas City. Andy's won with terrible quarterbacks. Andy's won with everybody. Andy's assistants are better. Andy's the one coach that gave Belichick real problems. Go look at their record. I think that Andy Reid-Belichick gap gets really thin. Really thin. And if we're going to be fair, the league pivoted to offense 7 years ago. About 7, 8, you're like, everything now. It's go look at Belichick's last 7 drafts, last 4 seasons. Again, I'm not confusing it. I think Belichick is a better coach than Shula, and Shula has more wins. It's not all just on record. Andy Reid is good with everybody at quarterback. I think the gap closes. I think it gets really close if he knocks down 3 straight Super Bowls.
Well, I'd say it's been closing dramatically fast over the last 2 years as he's knocked these last 2 off, right? I'm torn on this because I'm an Andy Reid guy, but I am a Belichick defender of, like, we know what we watched. We watched him outcoach everyone for 18 years.
Yeah.
And that includes Andy, beat him in a Super Bowl. Now, he had Brady, he had McNabb. The gap there is pretty wide. And he did beat him Mahomes' first year on the road in that AFC Championship game that went to overtime. That was one of the better games the Patriots ever played in. But you could argue, if Andy wins one more, the ability to coach every type quarterback,
absolutely,
and like you said, and win pretty big. I mean, he was consistently going to the playoffs with Alex Smith, no problem, right? Winning with Donovan McNabb, who had some serious flaws. Belichick could not only coach or have success with one guy. That guy was wired like a defensive guy. You could just dog cuss him. You could scream at him. That's not really the way most quarterbacks handle. And you put anyone else in that place, it gets a little weird really fast. Where I think Andy's personality is much more tailored to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Which have always been the name of the game, right? So Bill just got pretty lucky. He just got this rare bird that was wired more like Mike Vrabel or Teddy Bruschi. He could just take it. Most quarterbacks were not taking that type of abuse. That's why every article that was ever written about any backup quarterback that sat next to Tom said, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. The way that he takes this, it's like it terrified everyone else because Mahomes ain't, again, it doesn't mean you can't coach a guy hard or push a guy, but they treated everyone as equals when they're not equals. Joe Montana, John Elway, Peyton Manning, they weren't equals in the room, and the room knows it. But Belichick's thing, to me, could have only worked with Tom. It's why they were the perfect marriage. One of the great sports marriages of all time.
Yeah.
Andy can date anybody. If you gave Andy any of the top, let's just say 15 quarterbacks in the NFL, I'm not saying the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. You gave him like Josh Allen, they'd win the Super Bowl, or Joe Burrow. Lamar would be fun. I think he could just take like Dak, random guys, and they would have 11, 12 wins. Now, they may lose in a playoff game because that guy's not good enough, but he would be a lock for the playoffs. And I don't think you could say that about Bill as the years went on, rotating. Just give him Dak Prescott. He's a lock to win. I don't feel that way. So that's Andy's trump card in this modern day football. It ain't even close, right? His ability to do offense and quarterback, Bill couldn't. That's why I think a lot of people were off Bill. Now, it'll be very fascinating to watch how this offseason or this season goes with Bill playing this new role. I would say Bill is very dependent on one individual over the last 15 years, and that was Josh McDaniels. When he had Josh, and Josh's available. So if you're getting a package deal, and once you hire Bill and Josh, well, no one's ever hiring Josh to be a head coach ever again, right? In the NFL, maybe in college. But so maybe Bill has that going for him. But I don't even think it's remotely close. And I think Mahomes is a good example of like the guy that we see now is so much different than the guy we saw early on. The way they've coached him, the way he's changed. And just, if you can't coach the quarterbacks, I mean, Andy put Juan Castillo as defensive coordinator when I was there. Everyone makes mistakes. Yeah. But to put Matt Patricia as your offensive coordinator, with a second-year coach, is one of the most insane things ever. And for as great as Belichick's resume is, that's like an all-time stain. To me, that's a bigger stain than like Deflategate or any of that other crap.
I mean, there are these moments. Every great actor, Brando had 6 bombs.
De Niro, they all do.
Right. But there are moves over the last 3 to 4 years with Belichick that I can't unsee. And the Matt Patricia thing and the 5-6 straight. I mean, there are drafts where they don't have a single good player. It stains how I look at Bill. And how the beginning and any great movie starts great and finishes strong. Bill's ending is a catastrophe.
Hey, football fans, if you're looking to dominate your fantasy league next year, then we've got the channel for you. From the NFL draft through training camp and week 1 to Super Bowl Sunday, Fantasy Pros is the home of football content you cannot afford to miss. Subscribe today, and your team will be in championship form in no time.
Think about this, too. I do think it's a little weird that this, Bill was like this ultimate dictator. And don't get it wrong, like you're in the building with Andy, like he's the boss. But he interacts clearly a little different because look at his resume of like Doug Peterson was a right-hand guy, won a Super Bowl. Matt Nagy, they claim, was a disaster, took the Bears to the playoffs. Ron Rivera took the Panthers to the Super Bowl. Andy guy. John Harbaugh turned out to be pretty good. Like, why do Andy's guys just function pretty well? And Bill's guys, football coaching's hard. And every guy's going to lose, have a bad season, you're going to get fired eventually. His guys get run out of the building in record speed.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Judge immediately, you're like, oh, this ain't working. Josh McDaniels couldn't even make it through the second year. After like 10 years to take a step back. Patricia, whatever the hell happened in Detroit, I mean, an all-time.
Couldn't get along with Stafford.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So, like, and these are his core guys. Like, when you think Bill of the last 15 years, Brian Flores couldn't get along with a soul on offense. Hate his interactions with the quarterback because that's what they saw. Think about that. That's what those guys saw. All defensive guys scream at the quarterback. You're like, this ain't going to work. That ain't Tom Brady.
Success or failure, all of Andy Reid's guys are guys you'd love to have a beer with. They're good dudes.
Well liked.
Go to Bills, Charlie Weiss. Joe Judge.
He was just ranting on Twitter about getting fired from SiriusXM. I was like, Charlie, what's going on here?
Almost all of Bill's guys. Eric Mangini's an exception. Almost all of them. They're a lot of work. Like, if they were in the building, you'd avoid them. They're harsh. They're intense. They're arrogant. Yeah. Bill is attracted to that quality, that sort of pseudo-confidence, arrogance. And these guys, Matt Nagy used to call me, hey, thanks for saying nice stuff. My kids listened this morning going to work. Like, Doug Peterson's a great guy. They're all nice guys. And Andy is looking for people that Andy barks. So I think he looks for people psychologically that can comfort players when he barks. Bill barks and doubles down on the barking. And that's why the minute Brady leaves, free agents don't want to go there. Brandon Ayuk's like not remotely interested in that culture that Bill created.
Yeah, to me, it was his culture was all dependent on Tom once Tom established himself. And go back to Wolf, like they could have pivoted way earlier to Young and been fine. Like it wasn't dependent on one individual. I just think that's an all-time outlier situation, what we saw, because the way the quarterback could take it. None of these other quarterbacks take it. It's why every single guy to a man, the backup quarterbacks that all rotate around the league, were like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And it's not like, obviously, there are a small percentage of teams that just are really buttoned up, do it the right way. The Ravens, the Chiefs, the Patriots, like the gap of how they get ready, isn't it? But the way that they treated the quarterback in front of the entire team didn't happen anywhere else, because that's not normal, and you're never going to see that away. And I understand why the Patriot guys defend it. Like, if I was Edelman, I would defend it too, because they won a lot, but it wasn't sustainable. Once you remove the key cog, it crumbled down. And I'm telling you, it's going to get really ugly there. It's going to get really ugly there. That team rolling out Jacoby. I mean, Drake's a major project. People are going to be mad at Kraft because everything he did to Bill, even obviously didn't end well with Bill on the field, but you respect a guy that brought you so much. I think it's going to be really bad. And you talk to, like, I text around people in the league, they're like, buckle up, fellas. it's going to be ugly. And it's not like they're playing in a division. I mean, the Bills got a lot of moving parts. Obviously, they are the king of the division. The Dolphins aren't great. The Jets could implode. If you told me they didn't win a divisional game, I'd believe you.